Hi, my name is Beth, and you're listening to the Fitness and Nutrition Podcast, where we are hanging out at the intersection of fitness, nutrition, and cannabis. Thank you so much for pressing play today. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Beth, your personal trainer and cannabis educator, and today we're going to talk about the endocannabinoid system. Yes, that system inside your body where your body makes its own kinds of cannabis. There's two main kinds of cannabinoids that your body makes inside you. One is called 2-AG and one is called anandamide. And you just need to know that because you need to know that your body makes cannabinoids, and when we take cannabis, it supplements the cannabinoids that your body's making anyway. I'm going to drop a term, and you're going to want to remember this. First of all, just learning about the endocannabinoid system itself is putting you ahead of most doctors. They didn't even discover that the body had this system until the 1980s. And that was only because they were trying to prove how bad cannabis was for us. But instead, of course, they found that it wasn't. They found that there's a whole system that actually uses it because your body makes cannabinoids. Your body needs to supplement if it's not making cannabinoids, and that's what cannabis does. Because here's what they found, all these things that this system does. It's a master regulator. It helps control stress response, appetite and metabolism, mood and motivation, pain and inflammation, sleep and recovery. Oh yeah. So what we're going to talk about is endocannabinoid system tone, which is really just a term that's talking about the strength of and the stability and the durability and resilience of your endocannabinoid system. That's what we're talking about. Tone. So when you don't have a lot of strength, resilience, and durability to your endocannabinoid system, that's when you look like you see things like chronic stress, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, sleep disruption, sleeping, not falling asleep, waking up too early, not being able to go back to sleep, chaotic appetite, cravings, like mad, that's a big one that I know a lot of us struggle with. Not being hungry, being too hungry, never being hungry, being full, all of those things, urgent cravings, that like just desire to eat where you just can't even feel like you can control it. When the durability and strength and resilience of your endocannabinoid system is low, your body feels like it's in danger. Let me rephrase that. Your body senses that it's in danger. You may not quite realize that's what it's feeling, but that's what's going on the inside. Your body's like, uh-oh, something's not right here. This is not good. So it creates these things: chronic stress, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, disrupts your sleep, urgent cravings. Your workouts feel like you're just wrecked. You don't feel like you can recover. If you feel like that, chances are there's something going on with your endocannabinoid system. Chances are, too, because these are heavily connected, is that there's something going on with your nervous system, right? Your endocannabinoid system and your nervous system are linked, they're interconnected, and they are largely similar, but they just use different mechanisms, right? Even like PMS and perimenopause symptoms that just won't quit, that could be an under-supported endocannabinoid system, right? So again, kind of bringing it full picture here, because I know this is new, I know this is sciencey, and I'm not a sciencey girl. So kind of, again, bringing it back to the whole picture here is that cannabis supports your endocannabinoid system because it supplements the cannabinoids that your body makes anyway, right? And so that your body can make the natural cannabinoids that it wants to, that it needs to, because those help you be more resilient to stress, have less pain, be less tired, sleep through the night, fall asleep easily, stay asleep. have a regular appetite, hungry when you need to be, full when you need to be, not having cravings, recovering from workouts, not having as many perimenopause or menopause symptoms, right? And so cannabis is supplementing your endocannabinoid system so that these things can calm down and you can feel good. The mistake is thinking that we have total control over this outside of the endocannabinoid system. We think that we can control that. We think that we can control stress just by putting our nose to the grindstone and just keeping pushing forward, right? And eventually we'll just not be stressed anymore. Or, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, what are these things? We're trying all these different supplements and modalities to beat these things, trying all these different things, but sometimes it's just the fact that our endocannabinoid system isn't strong and durable. And I know, again, this probably sounds a little out there because it's not mainstream medical advice, but it should be, right? They did discover this through real research in the 1980s. And as far as I know, it's now more part of the mainstream medical school curriculum, but it's not. Most doctors are not educated on it, which is why they won't talk about cannabis as a supplement, because they don't understand that there's this whole system in your body that makes cannabinoids, and when we use cannabis, it supplements this system so that we can help, which helps regulate the stress, pain, fatigue, sleep, appetite, cravings, workouts, recovery, PMS, all of those things, right? It's not a willpower issue. It's not that you have to try harder. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. I used to think that I was doing all the things wrong. I used to think there was something wrong with me because I would try to work out. I would, have myself work out, force myself to work out, let's be real. And then I would go all day long. I would skip meals if I needed to. I would often not feel hungry, right? Because I was so go that I wasn't even noticing when I was hungry. And so I would ignore that. And then I would, at the end of the day, after pushing myself to get through the day, I would crash. I would have tons of cravings. I would overeat. I would eat really unhealthy food. And I thought that I just wasn't trying hard enough. I was like, well, I guess I just have to try harder. But that's not it at all. It was that I wasn't supporting my endocannabinoid system. And to be fair, with the behaviors, I wasn't supporting my nervous system either. So all of my systems were under supported. And that's why when I started using cannabis, I started to feel like normal again. Like I feel like me again, because I was taking a supplement that was helping the system that was completely not durable, right? The tone of my endocannabinoid system was not strong. So I needed a supplement. How do you know if you need a supplement? Well, you can try these different things, because a lot of these things I'm going to tell you to try are just things that are good for your body and your nervous system too. So while we may not have a test yet to figure out if it's your endocannabinoid system or your nervous system that needs help, these things that I'm going to tell you are going to help no matter what it is, right? We are going to talk about cannabis, but I'm going to tell you 5 ways to feel better that are going to support your endocannabinoid system, but also your nervous system. So let's talk about that. Balanced nutrition, number 1. Feed your system. Balanced nutrition. Balanced nutrition makes the biggest impact of any regulation tool I've seen. It's when you finally get lined up with your carbs, your protein, your fats, your fruits, your fibers, your vegetables, all of those things. When you finally find the balance, then you start to feel really good. That is a major nervous system regulator, major endocannabinoid system regulator, major body regulator. Now with endocannabinoid system, what they find is really helpful is omega-3s. So we're talking about fish oil, supplements, fatty fish, all of that if your endocannabinoid system tone is low, then you want to make sure you're getting enough omega-3s. Number 2, regulating stress, right? And this is something that, again, no matter what the situation is, this can't hurt. This is going to help. I'm talking about breath work, talking about walking, yoga, journaling, anything that makes your body feel safe. We talk about this a lot in my business coaching group because we work a lot on energetics. And so even just today, my coach was saying to a member of my group, she was saying, you need to get yourself in coziness right now. If your nervous system is fried, you need to get yourself into cozy. What's cozy for you? If cozy for me is a warm drink, a blanket, a dog on my lap, a good book, and that's what she was encouraging someone else to do. The issue is, what's cozy for you, right? So what makes you feel cozy? Is it a warm drink? Is it a blanket? Is it getting under the covers? And I'm not talking about hiding, right? That's different. I'm not talking about pulling the covers up over your head and hiding from the world. Napping is regulating, right? Hiding and smoking a joint is different. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we're talking about what makes you feel cozy. Cozy, right? That's such a good word. What makes you feel cozy? Cozy is safe. So think about that. What makes you feel cozy? But if once your body feels safe, then it's regulating for your body, your endocannabinoids, your endocannabinoids and your nervous system. Sleep. I mean, this isn't a surprise, is it? Like, sleep really fixes everything. And really, we need to sleep like we're professional athletes. Professional athletes sleep on a schedule. They're not staying up late watching one more episode of the show you're binging, right? They're not making excuses. I hear a lot of excuses during the day, let me tell you. But, professional athletes they can't afford to make excuses. They can't afford to stay up and hit one more episode of the show we're binging and then be a zombie the entire next day, because they have to perform. That's their job. And I think, in my opinion, we should treat ourselves like professional athletes, because I want to perform to my highest potential. I may not be a marathon runner or a professional basketball player, but I certainly want to be the best me I can. So sleep, super simple, right? Move to feel better after. Rhythmic movement. I'm kind of loving this term, rhythmic movement, because it helps me differentiate between walking, running, jogging, biking, swimming, hiking, lifting weights. And so that feels rhythmic to me. Doing things like HIIT, high intensity interval training. I know the high rocks are all the rage right now, where you're doing wall balls a bazillion times. Those kinds of workouts leave you wrecked, right? You feel like trash afterwards. And yes, that can be super fun, but it's not regulating for your body, right? There's a difference. So just know that there's a difference. Here's a good example. When you go for a nice brisk walk, or you swim, or you bike, or you lift weights, you get those endorphins, right? When you do an all-out, hard-as-hell workout, like a high rocks or a high-intensity training, sometimes it's so hard, you don't even get endorphins. You ever notice that? It's like too hard. You don't feel really good afterwards. You just sort of feel like you're gonna die. Okay, that's a signal from your body, right? Here's a real secret, which you may or may not know. Endorphins, we always talk about your body giving endorphins that make you feel good after you work out. Yeah, okay. Well, guess what? That's an endocannabinoid, really, is what it is. It's your body producing what's called anandamide, which is a cannabinoid, just like cannabis, that your body makes internally. Yes, your body makes its own cannabinoids, just like CBD and THC. And one of them is called anandamide. And anandamide is what gets produced when you exercise. And I love the term rhythmically. When you exercise rhythmically, meaning, you do it without killing yourself, without wrecking yourself. Your body produces anandamide, and that helps you feel euphoric, right? So that's why rhythmic exercise is so regulating for your body, because it's going to help support your body's natural production of anandamide. And when you use cannabis, it's going to support that as well, right? It's going to support the system. When you go all out and you try to murder yourself through a workout, your system feels danger. It feels unsupported. It feels unsafe, and that's why you don't feel recovered, and that's why it's not as effective. Now, here's the fun part. Here's where we get to talk about cannabis, because, again, the endocannabinoid system is your body making cannabinoids just like cannabis, and now you're using cannabis as a supplement to supplement that system so that your body can perform better. Here's what I find. I find that with me, I find that if I use cannabis a little more intentionally, like earlier than I think I need it, and low dose THC with a combination of CBD, so what I call balanced blend. It really gives, first of all, THC and CBD work best together, so they enhance each other. They work together, and they also work against each other, but in a good way. So like the munchies, for example. CBD blocks the way THC stimulates hunger, right? That's an example of how they work against each other, but in a good way, right? They tend to make you feel really balanced because when they work together, versus what I used to do was try to get through the day, muscle through the day, right? Push, 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 and then crash with some THC, right? End of the day, oh, finally I can get high. Finally I can zone out. Finally I can. And I did that for a while, but then when I started, and it's fine, but when I started using cannabis earlier in the day, before I thought I needed it, put a low dose of THC with my CBD, and the definition of low dose is going to be unique to you, just as it's unique to me. But putting it together with the CBD, suddenly my day felt so much easier. And I wasn't pushing hard and trying to just muscle through the day and then getting high at night. I didn't feel like I needed to do that. I just felt like the day was easier. And then I did feel just kind of more happy and more, it just felt easy. The day feels easy when I do that. It feels like I'm not stressed. I can just go about my business. So I really love low dose cannabis. We'll say low dose THC, balanced blends. And again, that ratio is going to look unique to you. It's going to be unique as the fingerprint. It could be unique as your fingerprint. But that's the fun part to me. That's the fun part. It's playing with cannabis, trying to find the right combination, because in essence, it all feels good, right? I do love CBD. I do love THC. And playing with different ratios and different dosages is just an experiment in how good can I feel, right? I feel really good. Well, hey, could I feel even better? I don't know. Let's try that tomorrow, right? So the goal is to just have your day and your habits feel doable. You want to get up for your workout. You want to sleep good so you can get up and go work out so that you can feel good and relaxed and recover throughout the day and then get up and do it again tomorrow, right? Now, we've talked a lot about supporting the endocannabinoid system, the strength and durability of it. Now, what erodes that? Well, you're not going to be surprised. Chronic stimulants, so like lots of caffeine, alcohol, ultra-processed food, constant intensity, that go, 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 muscle through the day, and underfueling, not eating, not listening to your body, not giving it the break that it needs. These keep the system reactive. So it's always in reactive mode, and which makes your cravings louder and your consistency gets harder. It makes it harder to get up and go work out. It makes it harder to be motivated. It makes it harder to make good decisions about what to eat. Your ECS, your endocannabinoid system, sets the conditions for your success when it comes to fitness, health, and weight loss. So my suggestion is to support it as best you can with food, balanced nutrition, sleep like you're a professional athlete, movement that's rhythmic, occasionally can be all out, but most of the time rhythmic, and stress regulation. Cannabis then is your supplement, not a crutch. It's not something you need to just get relaxed at the end of the day when you crash, right? This is what we do in CannaFit. This is what I love to talk about, is how it all comes together. What does your nutrition need to look like? What does your movement need to look like? What does your cannabis use need to look at? We regulate your endocannabinoid system and your nervous system. And then from that place, we can change your behavior and get you working out consistently, eating healthy food consistently, and finding that balance. And if you've heard me say this before, my certification is in moderation. And I believe that is the easiest and best way to feel good. And I am excited to teach it to you. So when the system is supported, fitness and calm stop feeling forced. It stops feeling hard and starts feeling sustainable. So if this resonates with you and you're interested in learning more about the endocannabinoid system and how it impacts your fitness and health, send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me at beth@cannafitnessnutrition.com, or you can hit me up on Instagram in my DMs. I'm Beth_CannaFitnessNutrition. I thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.